It can't be that bad, oh, 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 it can't be that bad.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome to another episode of ICBTB Podcast, also known as what?
It can't be that bad.
That's right. We're here with Juliet, Perry, Alejandro has been ridden.
Have COVID.
He does not have COVID. He has a horrible cold, and he should be better in a few days. But we miss you, buddy, and I love you, and Happy New Year. But welcome to 2022. I don't know what better way to start off the year than with this kind of movie.
Heyo.
Because this movie is just one big party.
One big party.
And you really like this movie.
It's also a tragedy.
Yeah.
It's a tragedy.
First hour is just a huge thrasher.
Yeah.
And then the second hour is just a tragedy.
It gets pretty deep.
It's dark. It's sad.
I feel like what I noticed about the movie is like there's parts where I'm like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. This is big. This is extravagant. And then like the next like scene, it's like super like intimate or just like, and I'm like, I love it. Baz Luhrmann.
And who is also the director of your favorite movie of all time?
He's just my favorite director. Like,
Period.
I genuinely love what he does with films.
And why?
Because it's so different and it's so artistic. And like, I mean, yes, Moulin Rouge is my favorite movie. Mm-hmm. So obviously that plays a big part because I watched that countless number of times.
Uh-huh.
I have watched it.
How many times do you think you watched this movie?
I want to say maybe 10.
Okay, that's a good amount. This is probably my third or fourth time.
10, but like not paying attention to it in detail.
Gotcha.
Those 10 times.
Yeah, well, if you know the story, if you've read the book.
Which I haven't.
Oh, you've never read the book?
No, we haven't even. Have we said? We haven't said it.
No, I mean, but if you guys like clicked on the episode, you guys saw the title. This week we watched The Great Gatsby. And not the one made in like the 50s or 60s.
That's the one I watched.
The one, shut up. I swear, I will turn everything off right now.
We watched the one in 2013.
The one with our Zaddy, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh my God.
Really good, like really steals the show, not only because of his acting, but this has to be the best he's ever looked.
He looks,
period.
You know, I was thinking that, like, because there was the scene where he's just smiling, throwing his fucking expensive ass shirts.
Yeah.
I was like, you're fucking gorgeous, dude.
Oh, he's a good looking
His smile,
guy.
like,
Well, not even that. The best scene of all time, and we'll get there when we get there, but I need to talk about it before we even get into the nitty gritty. It's when we first see him in the movie. He's like, oh, I apologize for being a bad host, old sport. And he turns around and he has a drink and he lifts his drink up to Tobey Maguire, fireworks in the background, looking like a snack.
Firework sound.
That is a handsome
like
man. Yes.
It's
Not even
iconic.
a snack.
I was
a full ass meal.
Entree,
I was
dessert.
telling Melissa, what if he turned around and instead of his face looking like how it looked, he was like this.
It would have been better.
Get on YouTube and watch that. Do you think people would have walked out of the theater? Oh, I find this offensive.
Could you imagine? Oh my God. Nitty gritty?
Let's get into it. Yeah, before we dive
Before
any
we
deeper.
go crazy. All right. We watched The Great Gatsby, rated PG-13, with a release date specifically of, I wasn't prepared, May 1st, 2013. Has a runtime of 2 hours and 23 minutes. Synopsis.
Coming right at you.
Midwest native Nick Carraway arrives in 1922 New York in search of the American dream. Nick, a would-be writer, moves in next door to millionaire Jay Gatsby and across the bay from his cousin Daisy and her philandering husband Tom. Thus, Nick becomes drawn into the captivating world of the wealthy, and as he bears witness to their illusions and deceits, pens a tale of impossible love, dreams, and tragedy. 7.2 out of 10 on IMDb, 48% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 3.3 out of 5 on Letterboxd. Have you seen the percentage of Google users?
I think I have. Is it like, what, 87?
No.
Am I way off?
You're not that far off.
91.
Christopher? 93. The answer is 89% of Google users liked this movie.
Wow. Okay. That's higher than for something that got 48% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is extremely low.
That's disrespectful.
Like, I understand it is pretty disrespectful.
That's disrespectful. This is I mean, I'm biased, but this is a good fucking movie.
It's a good movie.
It's a good, like, it's directed by Baz Luhrmann. Yeah. Also, who is hold on, let me pull up IMDb, because the same, like, writer who co-wrote this with him, or not writer, excuse me, director directs with him on, like, everything.
Okay, and you're trying to see if that director co-directed on this as well?
I'm pretty sure he did.
I don't know why do you think they tore this movie apart? I think it's because of, like, the very unique take. I think,
well, and that's what it is. I think Baz Luhrmann, it's a very specific taste, and I feel like you have to, you have to be a type of person to, like, I feel like his work, or, like, not necessarily a type of person, but I feel like a lot of artistic people,
it's very artistic,
like it,
because,
or they don't, maybe they don't.
There's two ways to really go about this. Is the way this took a very modernized artistic take on it, right?
Yeah, Craig Pierce,
and then
screenplay. He known for Moulin Rouge, Strictly Ballroom, Romeo and Juliet, The Great Gatsby.
Okay.
I will say I have not seen Strictly Ballroom, and I need to watch that because
I haven't seen it either.
That's one of his films that I have not seen. But I think, like, just the way the movie, like, opens, and he does the same thing in Moulin Rouge. He does the same thing in Romeo and Juliet, of, like, right off the bat, it's in black and white. Mm-hmm. We get the feel of it. Like, it's, like, painting the picture right away that, like, okay, this is where we are. This is what we're seeing.
What do we see? We see,
No, it starts out with the flashing green light.
Yes,
It starts out with a flashing green light, and it sweeps into him looking out the window, and he's talking
sanitarium
about it. Which, so is he there? Is he, like...
What do you mean? Oh, is he admitted?
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's paperwork, and so it says Nick Carraway.
It says he, like, drinks excessively.
Yeah.
Like, fits of anger and insomnia.
Fits of anger, insomnia, and anxiety, and, yes, morbid alcoholism or something like that. And I don't know what
that guy's just depressed.
It's the 1930s, so I don't know, like, what really is the level of mental illness, what they really define it as to be admitted into a sanitarium.
Right.
But you can see Tobey Maguire's going through it, right?
He's
like super jaded. I feel like a lot of people didn't like Tobey Maguire as Nick Carraway in this movie.
I think he did a good job.
I thought he was fine, and I don't know why.
And I see, like, so since I didn't read the book, I can't say, you know, like, oh, they didn't portray these characters how they were written.
Yeah.
So I can't say that argument, but
in the book, the only few differences I noticed was that Jordan Baker, right? The golf celebrity.
Oh, yes.
Tall ass actress. She's 6'3" in real life.
Yeah.
She is tall. In the book, they describe her as, like, burly and, like, almost masculine.
Well, and that's why, like, the line where he says, like, she was the most, like, he says, like, horrific thing or, like, something like that I've seen. But I, like, couldn't stop staring at her.
Probably, like, I think intimidating, not horrific. I don't
know. It was a pretty, like, kind of big word that I was like, oh, but, like, and I could tell, like, obviously, so I was like, it worked if he's talking about, like, her stature. Like, she's tall and she does have a very intense look to her. Mm-hmm. So maybe, but I was like, that line in itself is, like, I was like,
You know.
But it's also the times, too.
One of the theories of The Great Gatsby, like, of the book, was that Nick Carraway is gay. Which is, like, a hot take, right?
Okay.
Like I said, Jordan Baker is described as masculine and burly and athletic, right? And he's attracted to her, which we kind of see in the movie, right? Yeah. And they say another theory is that he loves Gatsby, and you see there's, like, little hints, right?
Right.
Of him saying, "I'm disgusted by all of mankind except for one man,
except for
Gatsby."
Yep. Well, and. The line, I don't know if this is in the book or if they just threw it in there in the screenplay, but when Tom Buchanan, when he's in the apartment with Myrtle and Tobey Maguire's there, and, like, he's like, oh no, I was just on my way out, and he's like, oh no, I know you're shy. He's like, but I remember how you used to like to watch.
What does that mean?
I think he's talking about who he clearly used to, I don't know, watch.
He was just
people,
watch people fuck.
Yeah, because they went to school together.
Yeah,
that's how they know each other.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, there's small little things, and what's up with the slight romanticism and flirtatiousness between Nick Carraway and Daisy. Right?
I feel like that's just who she is. She's just this paint, that's just who she is as a character. I mean, that's what he says. She makes anyone, her smile, he's only seen 5 people with that smile, right? So she's just that type of person, that light, that it's still a little weird.
But right when he walks in, so it's crazy when Tobey Maguire walks into Tom Buchanan's house and we first meet Daisy, because it's this room and you just see a bunch of white cloths everywhere.
I mean, I get it was picturesque, what he was trying to do, all the doors were open and it was
But I'm just thinking, if you were to see that in real time,
yeah,
I'd be like, whoa, close all the doors, because the curtains are flying everywhere and it must be really windy outside.
Yeah.
And but then we see Daisy, and Daisy pops up in slow motion, and
the ring.
Yes,
the first thing we see is her freaking fat ass square.
I have big questions.
What are they?
Daisy, did Daisy ever love Gatsby?
Okay, I think there is a lot of issues with a lot of these characters.
Yeah,
Gatsby, in his self, he has a lot of issues.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because his whole thing is he literally came from nothing, but he obviously had this ideal of being almost the best.
Yeah.
And I mean, he got lucky. We figure out who, the guy, the sailor, found him, taught him everything. I do have questions though.
What's up?
Because I feel so he saves the guy who teaches him his ways, and then he dies, right? And then his family said, oh no, Gatsby, Gatsby didn't get any of the money.
Yeah, Gatsby said he was tricked out of the inheritance or something like that.
So from when that happened to before he goes to the war, I'm like, okay, that's when he met Daisy, and then he goes off to war. What was in that letter? Do we ever find out what was in that letter?
Yeah, we find out. Okay, so
because
at the end of the movie.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
refresh my brain.
So I'll refresh your brain. It's okay. It's not a secret. Don't be ashamed. You didn't get to finish the movie prior to getting here. You had a busy day.
I had a busy day.
So I'll be filling you in, because Melissa and I, there's some crucial moments at the end that wrap this up, which is why it's it's great writing. It's a great piece of literature.
Before we jump to that,
sure.
The biggest thing is Gatsby in it's himself, and it's the whole thing is, were they really in love? We don't know, because we didn't really see that. But it seems like they didn't spend that much time together. Yeah. And then he created all of that in his head of what he thought she would imagine. And then it's that whole thing of the concept of the green light, that the green light represented Daisy. But then once he actually had her, the green light was still there. So was everything that he imagined her to be, was it? And it's not, because she says, let's run away. And that's his whole thing. No, why would we run away when all this is here? I did this for you. It's very, and in the plaza scene when when Tom is grilling him, you're pretty much nothing. You work for a gangster. And he pretty much says you're nothing. And
I know what you do.
And that's when he pops off, because he was told. And I'm
by the way, really good acting.
That is an 11-page scene. That the way they filmed it, there was Baz set up cameras in every corner of the room and outside the windows, but there was nobody on set except for the actors.
Whoa.
So they couldn't see any of the lighting setup. They couldn't see anything. So it genuinely felt like they were in that moment. It didn't feel like a set.
Beautiful. Beautiful. That's why it's so intimate. You see everyone.
Yeah.
Even Tobey Maguire and Jordan Baker, the golfer. You see them without saying a word, the tension in that room, because it was so good. Yes. Joel Edgerton as Tom Buchanan.
He did so good.
Fantastic antagonist. The way that writing is of how they slowly built up the tension in that room, and eventually, I love it, because when Leonardo DiCaprio is yelling, "Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!" That is, and Nick Carraway is narrating, saying Gatsby looked as if he had just killed a man, which is because Gatsby takes so much pride on being this mysterious gentleman, right? By saying like old sport and being like a man, an Oxford man, and for him to lose his temper was almost the first climax of the movie before like later on, right?
Right.
And it's just so incredible.
Such a like, and the way Baz Luhrmann directs things and just like the cinematography of it all, and even like because I watched a couple behind the scenes, like there was a lot of CGI and a lot of editing, which I think they did a really good job of. Yeah. But a lot of the stuff was also like practical, like
nice.
Obviously his house, that was not a real house, but like the inside of it, like a lot of the stuff, like they really built up. And the car scene when they're first driving into the city, that was all actually like they drove it and it was just like green screens around them. I mean, there was some obviously like they filmed it in place,
of course,
but I was like, that was cool to see. Like they actually like, and I feel like there's just always a lot of attention to detail, like the costumes. And like, because like this is Prohibition, right? Like in an interview, one of the behind the scenes, like this is the end of the war. And it's like, everyone was breaking out of the Victorian clothes. Like skirts were getting shorter. Girls, it was like a sexual awakening for a lot of people. It was just like this big party.
Which is what we were seeing. What is depicted in this film pretty well. Yeah. When we see Tobey Maguire have this little soiree with the girls and like force him to drink and force him to take what is it? A pill for her nerves?
Yeah. I feel like it's like anxiety.
Yeah.
That's like what it was.
And it's like this. So I think a lot of people, critics probably preferred for this classic piece of literature to be more grounded than what this is, right? I think that's why it's getting a lot of flack. Probably,
yes, because it is such like everyone knows it, right? Yeah. As like this, this, like you said, a great piece of literature. And then you take this movie that it almost seems like it's like, oh, it's like very glamorous and, and then there's the music playing, which, are you kidding me? Like, that's so good. And I feel like that's what he does in a lot of his movies is incorporates music, like obviously Moulin Rouge. Yeah. And then, but I mean, Romeo and Juliet, like the way he used music in that when they first see each other through the fishbowl. Oh my freaking God.
Stuff like that. Moments.
Yeah.
What did you think? Like, did you like the way... Would you have rather have seen this like as a grounded film where it seemed more realistic, or like did you like this artsy?
I like the artsy approach to it.
I think it needs it.
Yeah, it brought life into, the literature, like you were saying too. I don't know.
I think directors
haters can hate.
Haters can hate for sure. I think Baz Luhrmann did a great job of taking risk, which is something that as a director you should definitely do, or else how else is it going to stand out?
I mean, and he is clearly, he gets great actors, but then he uses them again. I mean, Romeo and Juliet, this, Nicole Kidman was Moulin Rouge, and then she did Australia. I mean, so he's loyal to the soil. Also, his wife is like producer, costume designer, set designer for almost all his films.
Well, I mean, look.
And like they're like a partnership.
Look at how this movie just looked. The costumes alone, my God, make this movie so memorable. Just all of on a hot ass day, like in that plaza scene, on a hot ass day, they're all still wearing their 3-piece suits. Yeah. They're all still wearing their accessories and still looking good while sweating, right? Yeah. Leonardo DiCaprio still looking great after standing outside in the rain, and then his hair just magically fixes itself.
Oh, that's such a moment. There's so like, and it's weird because tragedy. When I think about it, I'm like, this is a tragedy. Romeo and Juliet's a tragedy. Yeah. Moulin Rouge is a tragedy. Like, okay, Baz Luhrmann, you and your tragedies, but like, and it's such a love story, but it's also, it is and it isn't, because of like when you think about like just how messed up it is.
Oh, absolutely. Well, let's talk about it a little bit. That's why I asked, like, did Daisy ever really love Gatsby? And like, I think it was a brief stint. I think she was maybe infatuated.
I think it was like real love? A first. I mean, and it could be. I mean, because what's to distinguish and say what love is and what. But that's what I mean. Like I think it was a moment in time that they both, if he wouldn't have gone to the war, maybe they would have lived happily ever after, but probably not happily. And that's the whole thing. Like he created this life off of a memory of her, and like the line, "You can't live in the past."
Oh yeah,
and he says like, he literally says like, "Yes, you can.
You can't repeat the past."
Yeah, you can't repeat the past.
You're wrong.
He said
you're
wrong,
old sport.
Yeah,
You're
like
wrong.
so I'm like, that right there, I don't know. And then I mean, her husband Tom Buchanan is a big cheat. I mean,
I hate that man with the passion,
It's
which makes him
all-
such a good actor.
and it's just like, I mean, he's such like, it's like everything he does, like in that whole plaza scene, like saying like, "Oh, you know, you love me," or "Can you really say you can't? You don't love me?" And you know, and her saying like, "All the things I've been through with you," and it's like, and he's a cheater, but then like he's getting mad at her because
There's
I'm just like, and then like poor like, you know, Nick Carraway's character is just like, "I'm guarding other people's secrets." I don't know. I'm like, the whole storyline, freaking F. Scott Fitzgerald, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What
There's
the
a
fuck?
lot of hypocrisy.
So much hypocrisy.
And then it all just, they all get they don't get what they deserve because Tom Buchanan and Daisy are still able to like get away from this fucking mess, right?
Well, and like you saying, did she really love Gatsby? Because it's like, how could she do that? And I think for her, yeah, she did love him, but like I think she realized that was a very brief stint moment, and what she had was easier, and she probably saw some crazy in him. I mean, honestly, because when you actually think about that's stalker, that's weird. I mean,
Now
sometimes
it would be
love,
weird.
sometimes love can like be perceived. Some people would be like, "Oh my God, that's the most romantic thing ever," and it's like, no, that's kind of fucking creepy.
That's us thinking now with our modern thinking, right? That's like, obviously that's fucking creepy now.
Right.
And I'm not defending, I'm not advocating that you should move next to the love of your life.
I think she, like the character, realizes like, okay, yeah, this is kind of, it's great here, he's here, but she has a life.
Yeah.
I mean, life moved on after him.
But she wasn't great. She was definitely not great either. She was the one saying, let's run away. I love you.
Right, but then when it came down to
wasn't ready.
actually the choice, no. I mean, I think it was the idea of that.
But also, he was asking too much.
He was asking too much.
Like, she was ready to just be like, okay, I love him. I don't want to be with you anymore, Tom, but I'm going to be with Gatsby.
Yeah.
And Gatsby could have just been like, dope.
Right.
But the fact that Gatsby was asking, hey, tell him that you've never loved him.
Well, and I think that's his insecurities. That's what he came from nothing. And then was pretty much treated like nothing.
Yep.
Right? And then he has issues. And then at the end dies, and who's there at his house when there's nobody? A house
It's
that's
so
filled with people and
tragically
parties.
poetic, right? He said, not one soul that attended his parties and his hospitality showed up to his funeral.
Yeah.
And that is so sad, right?
But it's like you said, it's the beautiful irony of it, or
Yeah.
like it's the right. I mean, the story it's such a good story, and I think this film adaptation of it's so good.
It's like, I think a lot of people don't like the fact that we're hearing Jay-Z and hip hop
But
and
I
Lana
love
Del
it though,
Rey.
but because I'm like that era, like that's like the jazz age. That's what F. Scott Fitzgerald called that age, is like the jazz era.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You know, so like, I mean, and it was, and like the music and everything that was coming out of it, and I think it works so well too, especially when it's like, it was so, I mean, it's so fucking racist. Oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, America.
Well,
and-
like Tom Buchanan already.
Oh yeah, like so he's such a fucking lying, racist, cheating piece of shit.
Oh, yeah. Horrible.
But so are a lot of people. So, but I also think like to have those modernized songs, it's like, I don't know. It's very poetic.
I think it was great. I think a big part of this movie is to display how much of a good time that era was.
How much of a
right?
good time, but also fucked up.
Fucked up, of course. Well, which is why we see Tom Buchanan is like such an important character, because he's all those bad things put into one.
He plays it all so well.
And he straight up, do you remember he hit Myrtle.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And they like leave that in slow motion. Like it was a
Yes.
Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Like that was like an action slap.
Yes.
That was crazy.
Well, and that's what I mean. And I did have this thought when I was watching it that I was like, is there too much dynamics?
Yeah.
Like, and I think it was very in the beginning in that apartment scene where you have like that moment where we see the guy playing the sax.
Yeah, it's a trumpet. Yeah.
And that's such a moment. And then you go into a scene and then you go into music and it's like a party and I was like, I'm a little too overwhelmed right now.
Yeah.
That was like there was a point where I was like, okay, Baz Luhrmann, sometimes it's a lot.
But do you think it was meaning his intention was for us to be overstimulated?
Maybe. I think so.
Because that's prohibition. They're drinking alcohol.
Yeah.
So like, I think it was cool to make it a point of how big of partiers they were, because Nick Carraway says prohibition backfired because it made alcohol cheaper. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yep.
And like Gatsby's whole deal, he's a gangster because he's working for this guy. He bought all the drugstores so that he could sell all of his bootlegged alcohol there.
How does is he really that well off though? I mean, I'm just trying to think. So he's the big guy's right-hand man.
Yeah.
Like he really has that much money?
I could imagine. Well, think about it. He's by himself.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a family to have to spend it on. And he bought all of the drugstores in New York.
So I want to know how he fell in with this guy.
I don't know that part.
Wait, so you said we do find... Okay, can we jump ahead now? What's in the letter?
Because
did he tell her that he was really... Like, that's the thing. Does she know that he was nothing? Did she have this... Okay, she knew that.
Yes. So
okay.
He was saying that, wait for me until I make something of myself, because I can't make you happy, because he's so insecure about being nothing.
Got it, which is not fair to ask of her. And then homeboy comes along and he has lots of money and he's attractive, but... Which
poses the question, did she love Gatsby, or did she love the materialistic aspects of Gatsby? This big fucking mansion, all of the status.
Well, no, because she fell for him before he had that.
Okay.
But that's all I think...
But I don't think she knew.
In his mind, that's all he thought, that's like the American dream, right? That's what you want. That's what you need. And that's what she... Like, I think he had that idea, and even though he says it was for her, it wasn't. It was really for him. It was for that little boy who came from nothing.
Now, does Gatsby
I
truly love Daisy?
I think he uses Daisy as an excuse. I think, like, I'm going to stick with this. Gatsby has a lot of fucking issues.
Yeah.
That's okay. A lot of people
I think everyone
do.
here has issues.
A lot of people have issues.
This is what I'm thinking. I think he loves the idea of Daisy.
No, me too.
It was too short of a stint to really... I don't think he knows
that's what I
want
to know. How long did they know each other? How much time did they spend with each other?
I'm assuming like the summertime.
The summertime?
Because he met her when he was in uniform, and like she didn't even know that he was poor.
Yeah, it was like before he went to the war.
Yeah.
So you're saying she didn't know that he was poor?
Up until the letter. That's what I think.
Okay, so she gets the letter, but she got the letter on her wedding day. So did she stop hearing from him? That's the whole thing. She stopped hearing from him.
Yeah.
And then she got the letter, because then she was like, no, and then ripped off the pearls.
Maybe it's because of the war that he couldn't write.
I don't know if I was like thinking about these things too hard, or if it was like things I really needed answered as a viewer.
Well, I think this is why this is like good writing, because it's all wrapped up and like very poetic at the end.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. The way they slow motion Myrtle getting hit by that car and flying through the air.
Yeah. It's all ridiculous. She's seeing Isla Fisher mid-air, blood on her boobs, is just...
I love Isla Fisher too.
Oh, fantastic. Her
So
range,
good.
I just watched her in Wedding Crashers, and like what a great comedic actress. And to see her in this, which is like a little more serious, but also still
Hot
kind of
Rod.
comedic, right?
Yeah.
And Hot Rod. Oh. I think that she did a great job as Myrtle, right?
Yeah.
And then like even the guy that plays Wilson, her husband.
What's his name? Let's give this man credit.
He's
He does a lot of stuff. Jason Clarke.
Jason Clarke, yes.
Yeah.
It's just, this is what I'm thinking. Like, it's so sad because Daisy runs over Myrtle, who she doesn't even know is...
It's honestly, though, I feel like I'm like, that's poetic right there.
That's poetic justice.
Exactly. Like it's not because I don't think she obviously wants to kill anybody, but she kills the guy her husband has been, or the girl who her husband has been seeing.
Yeah, his mistress.
In her dude's car, who her dude was driving earlier. I mean, it's just all.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like great writing because these are just it's an unfortunate series of events, right?
Yeah.
And Gatsby is blamed for everything.
Because he can be, and that's the whole, like, that's the fuckery of it all. I mean, it's like this poor guy was just trying to make something of himself, and he did. Like, he really, like, good job for you, Gatsby. But
do you think Nick should have said something at some point? Because he was kind of, I mean, like Tom said, you like to watch, and honestly, with all that drama, all he did was watch.
I mean, said something to who? I mean, that was the hard thing, because, like, he literally says, like, now, you know, he's hiding two people's secrets. Mm-hmm. But it's like, is that his to tell? I mean, because I don't know.
I think
because it's like clearly he sees that they're both unhappy, but it's like it's not him to tell because Tom Buchanan is this horrible character.
Yeah, but Daisy's his cousin. He should be very protective of her feelings, and if she is,
but I think she also clearly has, you know, her own insecurities enough. I mean, if she's willing to.
Who are you defending here?
You know, I don't know who I'm defending. I think everyone in this situation is just being very selfish.
Yeah, of course.
Every single character is selfish.
Even Nick Carraway? Nick Carraway's just trying to study to be a writer at Yale, right?
Yeah, but he's selling fucking bonds. I mean,
he's not making that much money.
Yeah.
I would say that he's like the most...
no, I mean, he's selfish because he could be taking all this as... how clearly to write a novel, which he is doing.
Well, no, he's not trying to capitalize on the moment.
I know.
Because at the beginning of the movie, he said the psychiatrist is saying, write about it. He's like for people to read? And he's like, write about it and burn it. He's like, okay, then maybe. And then
But, you know, he's probably... You go to Yale to be a writer, and you don't want to be a writer. Yeah, fuck off. You went to Yale.
I don't think he went... Well, he got distracted that summer. That summer, he tried to isolate himself to study, but then, like, Gatsby was like, yo, come to the mansion and let's party.
He graduated from Yale.
Okay, then what was he doing at in that little cabin? He was trying to be a writer.
He was trying to study to know how to do his fucking accounting job correctly.
Oh, bonds? Really?
Yeah.
I thought, then why did he never write?
He's like, I got all these books on taxes and blah, 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 blah.
Oh, he's studying for that. I thought he was trying to be a writer. Shit.
No.
Okay. I thought it was funny that... he was the only one that got the invitation. That shows how fucked up people were. They showed up uninvited to Gatsby's parties.
Well, because he was throwing them, hoping that she would walk in. So my thing is, he has to know that that's her cousin, right?
Yeah. I wonder how he found out. I mean,
because it's Gatsby.
You're right. You're right.
I mean, and I don't know, the whole thing about buying a house directly across the lake.
Oh, this is why you're saying it's stalkerish.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what I wanted to ask. And I'm not advocating to move to next to the love of your life or anything. But, like, wasn't there, like, a difference with romance back in the day, right?
Yeah.
That could come off as extremely creepy now.
Well, and I think that's even sometimes romance is still written like that. I mean, you can, like, I genuinely think you can look at some, like, very, like, romantic things that to another person, that's like, no.
That's wrong.
You.
That's creepy. Yeah. Okay, what would have been creepy is if he stood outside the house. Like, is it creepy that he threw all these parties just waiting for her to come? It's weird.
I mean, I guess you got to do what you got to do, but eventually, she never showed up. She showed up because he got lucky that her cousin moved next door, and he knew that after he saw Jordan Baker he saw her before with her. Yeah. I mean, I think it was all a coinkydink.
Nick Carraway does him the favor of, I'll invite her to tea, right?
Yes.
And then Gatsby's like, okay, and then like,
what do you need?
Like,
I'll do something for you.
What do you need? Like, you don't make too much money being a bondsman, right? Like, hey, I got this thing on the side, which is the bootlegging money, the bootlegging gig. And he tries to get him in on that. He's just like, no, it's just a favor. And no one in this world has ever done that.
Because his face, that right there was fucking acting.
Fantastic acting. He was surprised.
You can tell that he was genuine. Like, he said, like, a favor, like, you just wanted, like someone just wants to do something for me.
Yeah.
Because they want to.
Well, look at how Gatsby is.
And he clearly was living a life of, I do things for others. Mm-hmm. I mean, and then he gets things in return, I guess.
Well,
I don't know.
everything's a transaction to him because he's a
Yes,
businessman. That's why he's so
yes.
wealthy.
Yeah.
And we see how he is in that little speakeasy where the barbershop was, right? Everyone he's interacting with wants something from him, right?
Yeah.
He's just that guy. The commissioner was there, and obviously he was stopped, or he was speeding through the city, and the police officer was just like,
his little card.
yeah, it says Jay Gatsby. And it's just like, sorry, Gatsby, I'll recognize you next time, right?
Now that's privileged if I've ever done seen it.
Fuck yeah. Right?
Yeah.
But then it's nice to see him surprised. We see Leonardo DiCaprio.
No, that was literally one of my notes. A favor about Daisy, Gatsby reaction. Yeah.
great acting. And like it's great acting throughout Daisy actually coming to Nick Carraway's place for all three of them to meet.
Yeah.
And because there's this nice buildup of like, okay, Gatsby's this Oxford man that is well-mannered, well-spoken, like just a good-looking guy that...
And then you see his anxiety.
Yeah, the most adorable fucking thing in the world. He leaves. He dips out. He's like, it's 2 minutes before Daisy has
She's
to get there.
supposed to get there, yep.
And he's like, I can't wait forever. I gotta go.
He gets mad.
He gets upset. When he goes up to the day of, he gets Nick Carraway's yard done.
Oh my God,
so it's
landscaped. And all the
Landscaped.
flowers, the house, the inside of the house, like repainted,
Yeah.
everything.
And it's raining the day of, and he has 12 of his men standing with umbrellas so that he could stay dry.
Yep.
Only for him to get wet again because he chickens out and is like wet in the rain.
And see, this is like romantic or like weird.
What are you thinking? Are you bashing this movie because it sounds like you thought there's nothing wrong with this movie?
No, I'm not bashing it. It's just like there's some things where I'm like, wait, when you just really like think about it for a second, you're like, that's kind of weird, you know?
Yeah, and it's definitely weird.
And I'm not like, I don't mean to bash it. Like, I love it. Like, I think it's the idea of it.
Yeah. Do you think it was 1920s romantic?
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't around, but
And if they loved each other, do you think that would be weird?
No, and I mean, I think they probably did love each other for that summer, and but then, what was it? 5 years go by,
Yeah, 5 years.
and it's now
It would be weird with that absence.
It's now 1922. I mean, she's been with another person for 5 years.
They have a kid.
4 years. 4 years, because a year goes by and then she marries him.
It's so quick, but you remember she's
Yeah,
talking.
she has
to,
a kid.
She
No,
has
but
a
then we
kid.
see her with her kid at the end when she's putting on her
That's
coat when they're about
right.
to leave. See,
Yeah.
I didn't watch that, but I remember that.
That almost slipped my mind. I'm like, okay, then obviously there has to be.
And it's like, and you could see, like, my thing is, yes, maybe she didn't really love Gatsby, but I'm like, as much as she probably does want to leave her husband, and I hate to say that, but it's like, that's a lot of fucking trouble. She has a kid.
Mm-hmm.
He's very well off. She clearly likes that lifestyle.
Yeah. She's enjoying it. She likes the status.
The moment when she's in Gatsby's house, when he's like throwing the shirts and she's laughing and then she's crying. And then,
why is she crying?
well, we don't really know because her line is, I'm just crying because these shirts are so beautiful. Like,
Why
that's
do you
how she
think
breaks.
she's crying?
I don't know if it's the realization of this is what she wants, but she knows she can't have it. Or this is what she could have had. This is what she could have. I don't know.
So
That's what I like interpret it as. It's that moment of she's in that moment and she is so happy. Or it's happiness because it's an escape. She's fucking miserable. We see the cringiness when that phone is ringing incessantly, and she knows her husband cheats on her.
Ugh.
And every time that phone rings, I mean,
Yeah.
So yeah, you're seeing someone who you loved, and it was a time 5 years ago when you were innocent, you were younger, and it's that the thought of that.
What would you do in her shoes? What's your move?
God, I don't freaking know.
And it's still Leonardo DiCaprio. We're not just saying like a Gatsby that looks like Ken Jeong.
I don't know, because like me analyzing it, I'm kind of scared for Gatsby's mental state.
How much do you even think?
And I don't know if that's, I mean, I'm not saying that's worth putting up with a cheating husband, but
at the time, did she think anything of his mental state?
I think the biggest thing is, okay, if Gatsby has been living his life just for her, to get her, hopefully, the hopefulness of getting her back in his life now that he has her, now what? I mean, and it's that thing. It's like what the green light symbolizes. Okay, now you have that. Are
Now
you,
what?
yeah.
Well, I think how long do they have it for? Oh, we have Melissa wanted to say something. Swallow your boba before you speak.
Sorry, no, I'm not drinking the boba. Yeah, I was eating my food. But what Jules is saying, yeah, now what? Because all this time he was chasing, you know?
Yeah.
So once the chase is over, like, she didn't really see that side of him when he, like, blew up at Tom.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
So
and then when she did see it, you could
She was
tell
like,
she
whoa.
was
She
like
was
freaked
yeah,
out.
she, like,
Dude, I love the writing.
yeah,
It's
so, no.
Yeah.
That's all.
Nick Carraway was saying, with every word you see Daisy drawing herself back more and more.
into herself.
Yeah. Oh, so good. I don't know. I mean, like, we don't get to see it. We get to see the brief stint of happiness that they have that summer when she is secretly going to his place and they're doing it, which is super weird. Okay. The fact that Jay Gatsby's like, come on, I want to show you my house. You come too, Nick. And like, Nick is just like watching. Nick likes to watch,
He
man.
likes to watch. I mean, they slipped that line in there, and
Creepy.
he is. I mean, he is just watching this. You're right. You said it. He's watching this whole time.
Damn, how come they just didn't invite Jordan? It seemed like Jordan and
He's
Nick had something
watching,
going
and
on.
then he's talking about it. He's obsessing. He's literally obsessing about it. Why is he?
Well, maybe because
in
he's
that
so.
sanitarium.
I don't know.
Well, think about it. Yes, because Gatsby died. Man, he did love Gatsby because he's saying the only man in this world is Gatsby.
Dude, I think it's hypothetical. It's a potential that Nick is gay for Gatsby.
It could have been a great love story if only Gatsby had realized that Daisy Buchanan really didn't love him, and Nick Carraway, Daisy Buchanan's cousin, so he could have kept it in the family.
Then we would have had this great piece of literature. I mean, the story would be wildly different. F. Scott Fitzgerald, through all the problems that he had.
You know, it would have been a different story to tell in a time where those stories should have been told.
Well, there's a lot of words.
Yeah, I know. But I think I said it confidently enough.
No. Yeah. Well, which is when this movie. I mean, the book came out at a different time. We're analyzing this as
100
2 youngins
years later.
Almost pretty much.
No, exactly.
Well, when did the book come out?
Oh.
The book didn't come out in 1922.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm talking about the setting of what we're talking
yes,
about.
in terms of the setting, we're analyzing this as 2 youngins in 2022.
The Great Gatsby release. It wouldn't even. Is that still called a release date when books are released?
I don't know. I just know that you're the slowest Googler I've ever.
Is a 1925 novel.
Whoa, 1925. So I guess pretty much 100 years ago.
Hold on, let's double check.
Where are you getting that source?
I mean, that's like literally what it said. Yeah.
Then let's stick with
April
1925.
10th, 1925.
Okay, so this was of its time.
Yeah, so it was. I mean, cool.
Yeah. So
I feel like I should read this book. How long is it?
I can't remember. I read it in college. It's not
Okay,
terribly
yeah,
long.
because Chris was like, "Didn't you have to read it in high school?" And I was like, "No, I don't think we did."
Oh, so you skipped that. Okay.
Did you have to read it in high school?
I think I read it in high school and then I read it again in college, in community college.
I don't remember reading it in high school.
It's pretty good. There's like very great quotes. Like there's one quote at the very end that is extremely applicable to like everyday life, in my opinion. It is, "So we beat on, boats
the green
against
light.
the current, borne back ceaselessly into the past." And they say it's like a reference to the futility of our attempts to escape the past, even as we look to the future, dreaming of how tomorrow we will run faster, stretch out our arms farther. Shit like that. And so, that means in this movie, everyone's past is affecting them greatly.
Yeah.
Gatsby can't get past.
That quote comes right after he literally says the green light. So it's the past. Daisy is the past.
Yeah. Well, that's why he's living on not even Daisy right now, but his image of Daisy 5 years ago.
I mean, and that's the thing. That's a different person. Everyone's different people than they were. I mean, especially when they have their own life with a husband and a child. One of the lines that I loved from it is when she says when she gave birth, Tom wasn't around, and she asked the nurse, "Is it a boy or a girl?" And she said, "It's a girl," and I wept. And she says, because like a girl is a fool, but the best thing the best thing a girl can be in this world is a fool, a beautiful little fool.
Yeah.
And that's just so like, Jesus fucking Christ.
What do you think that means?
I mean, she's like, a girl she's saying to be foolish.
Okay.
I that's what I'm saying.
To be like ignorant.
You have to be ignorant because she's saying it's fucked up to be a girl in this world. She is so sad.
Yeah.
That she pretty much she's she has a girl, so there's nothing she can do. So I hope she's a fool.
Yeah, dude. This book
Because
is talking about
think about it.
sexism.
That's right off the bat in like the very beginning, and we see she is in a relationship with someone who cheats on her. I mean, she's a woman.
Yeah.
In the 1920s.
Yeah.
Who were looked at just as, especially then in the 1920s, like sex symbols.
Yeah.
More because the shorts were getting shorter.
Other than that, her life,
Skirts.
her being a girl and being with a shitty husband are the worst things that are going on for her because she has the option of
She's
2
not
mansions. She's not working. She's like, what mansion do I want to live in? Do I want to live in the one over here? Well, I mean, like, it's cool. That's why I like Jordan Baker, because Jordan Baker's an independent woman who doesn't have to listen to the man that's trying to that's nagging her at the
she's
party.
a different sign of the times.
She's like a famous golfer that people recognize in public. She's 6'3", damn girl. Wow, good for you.
Yeah.
I don't know this. I want to talk about the party scenes because I think that's like a big deal. Like in
the party scenes made me just so incredibly jealous to not be in this movie, even though I know it wasn't actually like all like that. Like a lot of it was green screen.
Yeah.
But still, like
must
the
have been so
energy
fun to shoot.
and the music and the costumes, like everything about it.
Yeah. The organ player that is a
Beethoven's
descendant.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he lives there because
he makes it when they start hearing it and he's like, oh, blah blah blah's awake.
well, yeah, he's like Gatsby's like, wake him up so that Daisy could hear the organ play.
I mean, why not? I'm sure he has lots of rooms. Why not let weird artist? I mean, sounds fun.
Yeah, it does.
Sounds fun.
I'm appreciative of Nick because even when he arrived to the party, he's showing everyone like, yeah, did you get an invitation? I think I'm the only one that got this paper invitation.
I think Nick is a very good guy.
Yeah.
Who has a lot of things he hasn't dealt with.
This is all new to him. Even at the end, he's like the only person cleaning up. Everyone else is being fucking assholes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
the perfect party guest.
I think he represents a lot of the good. Like, his character is supposed to show us, like, okay, like the good in people.
Well, I think his character is also showing the good transitioning into what the rest of society is.
Yes.
Do you remember when he's in the apartment that Tom Buchanan has for him and Myrtle?
Mm-hmm.
He's saying, I'm within and I'm without.
Yes.
So he sees himself outside. He's the person looking into the apartments that is so foreign to it, but he's saying he's within because now he's in that life. And now he's saying that he's seeing things in New York that he doesn't like and that he likes, and it's so different and what do you call it? It's so different and diverse. And he says, I am both enchanted and disgusted.
Yeah.
Which is like...
No, I mean, the writing, the movie.
Yeah.
Everything. I'm mad at whoever rated this so bad on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's a lot of critics because it's a 48%.
I mean, sorry, but fuck y'all.
You want to read some of the reviews?
Yeah. IMDb reviews?
Yeah, we could talk trash about them. While you're looking for that, I want to ask Melissa more about like her thoughts on this movie. Because the first time you watched it, was it with me?
User reviews? Is that?
Wait, let me sit back on the...
Not user. Let's go with like critic reviews because it's the critics that like really destroyed this movie.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm full.
So what'd you think about the movie?
I didn't ask you to tell me about your current hunger status. It's a movie podcast.
I'm full.
The movie was great. I did like all the costumes. The scenes were great.
Is there anything you think you could have done better?
In terms of what?
I don't know. Just in general as a movie.
The plot. Shit, fuck Tom.
Yeah. I agree.
No.
I agree.
But like you guys are talking about, like this was a different time, so I feel like women weren't empowered enough to leave.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because
So if she had tried to run away, what do you think the consequences would have been?
because he's fucking rich and he has connects and
Dude,
you know,
oh yeah. Well, he was able to like dig into Gatsby's past.
Yeah, his
obviously he has
history.
power.
So yeah, he has power being a woman who pretty much has nothing.
Yeah.
Married to a man who has so much power, like that's scary. So of course, like I don't want to say I like don't blame her for wanting or for like resorting to staying with him, but also like
sometimes you got to do what you got to do,
right? But
or even if that is also means for her kid too. I mean,
That's
we
true.
got to think she wasn't just
She
thinking
does
about
have it.
herself.
That's okay. There's something I think the movie lacks a little bit. We don't really.
But is it about her kid though? It's not.
No, but I think we should know that it's more of a factor in her decision making. Because right now, the way she acts is like, this is for me,
But
me.
here's the thing: this was also written by a man.
Ooh,
I hate to
good.
say that in 1920s, the
Yeah.
1920s.
Yeah.
So he wasn't necessarily. I don't think. I mean, I can't speak for him, but I don't think he was really thinking about. Let me really get this character's point across of why she's making these decisions.
Yeah.
Maybe if it was a
woman that wrote it.
or another book,
Okay. Yeah.
a sequel. Okay. Movies in Focus. I don't know who reviewed that. Oh, this is a recent review, 2021.
Read the bad ones. I want to
This
get
is a
mad
bad
at
one.
these critics.
1 out of 5. Baz Luhrmann's The Great Gatsby is a failure. It's a poor adaptation of F. Scott Fitzgerald's powerful text, and it's a tragic that such a great novel has been bastardized, become a flashy CGI blockbuster. I could see why people who are like in love with the literature would not like this movie.
That's the same with anything. Harry Potter movies. Lord of
Bitch
the Rings.
Media top critic. Oh, full review.
Bitch Media?
That's what her title is.
Oh shit. Oh, okay. Is that
Oh.
maybe her job is to only bash? She probably doesn't have any good reviews.
Let
then.
me not read the full fucking article because I don't give that
Yeah.
much. The film does nothing to beat against the current.
Oh, so it's
Wow.
commenting. Oh, this
On that
this
quote.
critic is just like, I'm gonna
Oh.
twist this quote around.
There's no lesson that all this 1920s extravagance is problematic. The message is to party like a rock star and dress like a robber baron. Just don't waste all your money chasing a woman who waffles. Okay, that was such a review. That was like such a on the surface review.
Yeah.
Because we actually analyzed this film.
We're trying to.
The film, which is still vastly superior to the 1974 Robert version, is emotionally adrift yet visually arresting. For all the gimmicks, flamboyant celebrations, and intrusive modern flourishes, the film is loud and boisterous, but ultimately empty. Gazing at the spectacle, you can't help but think it will eventually all add up to something, but it never does.
No, it does. Okay, stop right there. I'm gonna get a little upset because yes, I mean a big portion of this being a good movie is because the book was good, but I still think that
Well, because I
the
think
presentation was solid.
I think the presentation was solid, and I think, yeah, like people who are like, oh, they made it too glitz and glam, and, you know, like, are pissed off about the time spent on making those scenes and making this film, like, look like the fun time that we, like, because you, like I said, I haven't read the book, but watching this movie, I'm like, I want to be there.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's an important part of filmmaking is
to want
wanting
to
to
be
be
there.
there. But still, we still get the literature. We still understand what is being said, what is being portrayed. Because there is, like I said, there's the scenes of partying, but all of a sudden we're in like a very intense scene. And it's like, okay, cool.
What I think this movie is trying to make us do is fall in love with the glitz and glamour.
Well, because I
but
think that's
also
a big part of
understand-
the story.
Yeah. But also understand how fucked up the world still was.
Yes.
There's a reason why these people partied. There's
and
a reason why
100
these people
years
drank.
later.
Still the same. People drink. People still fucked up. People still drinking to forget.
Hey, you look very handsome in your bow tie and Adidas pants.
Thank you very much. Way to just call out. You look very handsome in your what the fuck do you call that?
I don't know. Actually, fun fact, I found this in a fucking thrift store in Paris, France.
Whoa. Okay.
And I wore this when I saw the Moulin Rouge on Broadway.
Way to
And
flex.
Baz Luhrmann was there.
Did you say hi?
No, but I cried. He was in the same. It was, I realized this before the start of Act 2. Also, the choreographer of the show was sitting right in front of me.
Wow.
Okay. It was
She's
overwhelming.
like, hey, do you
She
need a dancer?
she complimented my shirt when I was walking up the aisle after the show.
You should have plied.
I should have plied. Hey, so your tie. Look at me, plie. I look across the aisle and I see Baz Luhrmann standing up. He was in the center section. I was on the left side, same row.
Wow.
And I see him, and I look at my mom was actually right, and I was like, "Mom, it's Baz Luhrmann," and I just start crying. The lady next to me who had been seeing me cry throughout this entire, I sat down and I was crying.
Yeah.
She goes, "Are you okay?" And I go, "Baz Luhrmann." And she goes, "Who?" And I was like,
You don't even know. You don't even know.
I was like, "The director of the movie Moulin Rouge?" "Oh, yeah? Where?" And I was like, "He's right there." I was crying, mad at this woman for not knowing who he was. Like, don't dare disrespect.
Well, I mean, this is your favorite director of all time.
Literally.
Should have auditioned right there.
I
Should have
need to
stood
work
up.
with him. I need
Should have
to.
stood up and done everything you could.
You know he's making a Elvis movie?
I love that already.
Mm-hmm.
I love that
You should follow him on Instagram.
Elvis?
Yeah.
Oh, Baz Luhrmann.
Baz Luhrmann.
I was like, what? Okay.
Elvis.
So before we sign off, I want to talk about our favorite scenes, because my favorite scene, easily I've talked about already, was when he turns around. When Leonardo DiCaprio.
I was clapping when I was watching it. It happened, and I was like...
Oh, with Melissa, I think I was holding your hand. I squeezed it. I was just like, oh shit, look, he's turning around.
I just felt like there were so many times we were just like screaming and like, oh my God,
this guy's so handsome. Leo at his peak.
Foyne at his prime.
I
How
think
does he get his hair like that?
one of my favorite scenes is when they're driving into the city and they go across the Queensboro Bridge, I believe. And it's that slow motion and they drive past the other car.
Yeah.
And I love it because it is 3 black people and their driver is a white guy.
And I think that's the beauty of it.
No, that's what it is. And to just and just that moment, because it's in slow motion and everyone, like, they are dressed head to toe. Yeah. They're in this amazing car, like that moment. And just like cinematically, I'm like, oh, it looks great. And like what it's saying too, I'm just like, yes.
What this movie is,
I mean, more of that, but
it's showing these rich white people problems. And you see this movie does not focus at all on black people and their problems, saying that like, shit. Like,
well, no, but it's saying, obviously, I mean, they're literally said of Tom Buchanan saying, oh, the whites are the superior race.
That part. Yeah, for sure. I
mean, it's literally like.
But I think what we're seeing right here is like, y'all tripping about, like, you guys got money to live 10,000 years.
Yeah.
And then like, look at the black people in this car. They got it going. They're good.
I mean, well, and that's the thing. It's just like, I'm like, you want more of that. But I think that was like that moment just for me. And even just like how it looks. And that was in one of the videos that I was watching where it showed scenes, how they look in the movie and how they were filmed. And they were both in those cars side by side, not moving. And the reflection on the car, like they actually had it like the bridge. Like that was what we were seeing, like the light. So it's like just that. And her getting hit by the car. It's not
one of your favorite scenes?
It's not one of my favorite scenes, but just that image of the way they just show her like flying.
I think you hear her scream too.
Yeah.
Tom!
Like just her running and poor Myrtle.
Yeah.
She is not in a good place. Her husband kind of seems like a
I don't
sleazeball.
blame her for like, trying to chase this better life with Tom. Well, she doesn't have any personal relationship with Dave.
She's literally the side hoe.
Yeah, and she loves Tom,
Unfortunately.
And then fucking Wilson is like a piece of shit alcoholic that owns this gas station, right?
Who's just like, oh, that's the one who killed my wife.
Oh, I'm gonna shoot the guy that you told me.
You poor guy. But it literally everyone, it just shows you the different classes and different just like every character I think is a good representation. But I mean, there should have been. More, but that's not the story. It's F. Scott Fitzgerald's story.
Like this was written in 1925.
In the 1920s.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is why it's only focusing on leading male characters that are rich and white.
Watching this movie, it made me really want to drink champagne and smoke a cigarette.
Oh, this made me want a cigar, like a big cigar.
I think just because like her, like even like the girls, like not just. I guess that's why they don't like showing commercials of people smoking.
That's why it shows up
glamorous.
That's why it shows up like PG-13, like action and violence, smoking and substance use.
But even like that car scene, there's literally like buckets full of like champagne, and I'm like, wow, nice. I want some champagne now.
This book was banned in some like Catholic schools because it has like some sexual language in it.
It doesn't surprise me.
Because it's so romantically written. So this one is talking about like Jordan Baker's masculine shoulders. It was like too much for these for these Catholic school students.
I should ask my mom if it was in her school because she went to a Catholic.
You should ask if it was
school.
banned. Yeah.
Okay, I will. We'll find out.
Favorite scene, Melissa?
I would also say like when they first showed him, because you don't, who the fuck is he?
Yeah.
And he's like nowhere to be found. He's just like this mysterious guy. And probably when when they had tea for the first time at Nick's house.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Because you see how nervous Gatsby
there was like
is.
so much tension. And
Well, she comes in. She's like, oh my gosh, are you in love with me? And she's looking at all the orchids and she's like, she is in love with me.
Yeah,
or he is in love with me.
He is in love with me.
And then he's like, where the fuck did Gatsby go? And then Gatsby finally comes in, just drenched. And the moment that they see each other, there is just so much tension and so many questions. And you're like, oh my God. And they're being super awkward.
Yeah.
It's so funny how he knocks over Nick's clock and tries to fix it. And it's because it's that juxtaposition. It's the contrast of this gentleman, this Oxford man being a klutz. There's something so like endearing about that. Mm-hmm. And then on the other side of the spectrum, the other favorite scene of mine is when he loses his temper.
Yeah.
Because
he just loses his composition.
I think
overall,
knowing now too that scene was shot with that, like he set it up that it felt very intimate and they were actually in the moment. I think that is probably one of my favorite scenes too. I mean, just because acting wise, the way everyone delivered that scene, like it's so good,
phenomenal.
But also knowing how it was filmed, I'm like, oh, that just makes it even better.
Let's rate the film out of 5. What do you guys think?
Out of 5, I'd give it a 4.
4. Okay, Melissa. Solid 4 for me as well.
Yeah.
What could have made it 5?
I don't necessarily think it could have been a 5.
Because of what the story prevents itself from being a 5?
I mean, I think it's really well done. I just think the thing that's keeping it from a 5 is I just have my Jay Gatsby. You're kind of weird.
Oh yeah.
I get it. You come from nothing and you made yourself out of something, but you're a little weird.
Mm-hmm. Everyone's weird. Come on, Daisy's like.
No, I know, but a tragedy, love.
Best person on set.
Best person on set. I'm gonna have to go with Catherine Martin, Baz Luhrmann's wife.
I think that's a big deal. So set and costume design, right?
Set, costume design. I mean, and she's like a producer-ish too.
This movie just looked phenomenal. So visually stunning.
Because I've heard interviews of people saying he everything he does, he asks Catherine. It's a very
that's great.
All of his creative processes, he talks to her about it. So it's a very team effort that I like, and that she fucking kills it.
Yeah.
Costuming wise, and I'm being kind of I'm talking about all films that I know she's done.
Well, yeah, no, that's a big reason. That makes her a great person.
This movie, I think the costuming is a big part of it. Yeah. Big. I mean, it has to be because that's a part of the era. Honestly, can we start dressing like that again? Would that be weird? Would you?
I mean, I just need the money. And I would buy a 3-piece pink suit. Oh my gosh, the suit that Leonardo DiCaprio wears at the plaza, that scene, the pink suit is just the best he's ever looked. He has a cane too, and he's just
all his suits are all
everything.
Leo.
Even Nick Carraway being this guy that's a bondsman and not making that much money, his suits were also great.
Yeah,
and their hair was fantastic. I want to know what kind of pomade they were using back in 1922.
Probably nothing really good for you.
Nothing great. No, probably not. Probably not.
We could maybe find out.
Yeah, I mean, just type in 1920s pomade.
What was
ingredients? That's
just when you can Google what was the number one song on your the day you were born.
Oh yeah, there's shit like that.
Yeah.
Dude,
how much was gas?
Best person on set, lady?
My boy Leo.
Okay, Leo.
He is so good.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
He's so
very
good.
good.
What about you?
Obviously, I mean, I love Leonardo DiCaprio, and I want to give it to him, but it's too obvious. So, and she already chose him, but I'm gonna give it to Joel Edgerton.
Oh, okay.
Who's
I
that?
think he's Tom Buchanan.
Oh, he was my
Sean
second
Buchanan.
Because that's his just fantastic acting.
I mean, and he's so American. I would never know that he's not.
Right? So good. What? when Where's he from? The UK?
I think he's from Australia.
Australia.
He's an Aussie, like Baz.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, if you could act like that and really trick me into thinking you're a very American, masculine man from the 1920s
no, and
New
he
York.
plays that like
so good.
Did you know that Leo and Tobey Maguire are like childhood friends?
Yep. Have you
you're
seen like
telling
old
me
pictures
that.
of them?
Yeah.
I just told her that. It's
That's
just,
so
like,
cute.
So cute.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
It's great. Yeah. Okay. That was a lot. That was a lot. We obviously really like this movie. It's a great book.
I think we done did good.
We did good with like an actual review. Not that we don't ever actually do actual reviews, but like we really dove deep into this.
Yeah. Now I got to go read the book.
Yeah. Okay. Well, guys, thanks for joining us here in the studio. Baddies, once again, we love you. Happy New Year. Thank you for allowing us to take a quick break. I told you we were going to hit the ground running when we came back. We got a lot of cool stuff planned for you this year.
Ooh.
So please stay tuned. Tell your friends. This podcast is not only mine, but like Alejandro's passion, near and dear. After taking a break for just a week, I realized how much I missed it and how much this really does for me as a creator. And even though the break was much needed to see my loved ones and spend time with them, it made me really see what kind of void it does leave in my heart if I don't do it.
So keep supporting.
Like, really, no, comment wherever you can on Instagram. Like, help me with those algorithms.
Do YouTube videos, does it help when people like them? Because I try to like them.
Yes. Like as much as you can. Like,
Okay.
if you like, even if you don't listen on YouTube, like YouTube is something I'm really trying to push because I put a lot of effort into the video aspect of this. So do what you can, because like we've been doing this for a while, and like slowly but surely we are growing, and the numbers are nice, and it really does mean that
I'm laughing at you because you're scratching.
I'm itchy.
You're ashy.
As you're
'cause I'm
talking about
scratching.
making people watch the video, and you're just
just like, just subscribe to YouTube and then like comment and then I love you forever. I love you.
I like it.
And to end the episode, I want to try to quote from memory the last words from this movie and the book. The boats would, as if so we beat on against the current. Your past will forever tether you behind ceaselessly, bringing you back behind you.
Happy New Year, baddies.
Happy New Year!
Hey.
You guys remember that party I threw here?
Oh, yeah.
The Great Gatsby party hung with like 100 people?